Hard to believe. Here we are. It is fall. Yes, and a huge game coming up here at Memorial Stadium, at Geese Memorial Stadium. Let's get that right, Larry, because the other Larry paid a lot more money than I'm worth to make sure he makes that happen. We are the Illini Guys Sports Spectacular. Larry Smith, Mike Cagley, Brad Sturdy. Glad you're with us. Producer Tony, editor Josh. It's a cast of thousands divided by a few. As we're getting ready for another big weekend here on campus, Illinois. Look, obviously, yeah. Are we still limping? We still bruised and battered from last week? Yes, we are. And you know what? But the way you heal that is to get a win over a USC team that not only is improving right now. We'll hear it in a bit from Cooper Perkins, USC insider, talk with Mike on the Illini podcast. We'll have Matt Stevens on as well, talking about that. We're going to talk some Illini hoops too. It's a busy hour, but guys, this is a chance right now. To me, the Indiana loss, the route at Indiana wasn't as bad if it wasn't on NBC primetime for the entire world to see. And now you get a chance on primetime, the high noon, the kickoff show on Fox coming in, 11 a.m. kickoff time. You get a chance now to get a little redemption, if you will, but on a national stage against the Trojans.
Yeah, Larry, when you like pitch a baseball and you give up home runs, they always talk about your neck hurting. I've been waking up for a week having night terrors as Indiana ran for another touchdown after another touchdown after another touchdown. So yes, they need to redeem themselves on Saturday. This was and the opportunity's there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still one loss. I think this is the hardest part about this is for people. Fans don't understand this. Players, they're not going out there going, we can't beat USC. Fans are, maybe might say, oh, well, that team's, they're overrated. It's always the next day. It's always the next game. It's always the next play. And they're athletes. So they're going to be fine in the sense that they're going to come out and compete a little bit. Now, they're going to have to play better, a lot better to win this game, though.
This team is really got themselves to the point where people had high expectations, and unfortunately, they've lost the control. They could control their own destiny if they win every game. The odds of them going undefeated were very small. I just don't know that anybody was emotionally prepared for a 53-point loss. And Brad has it exactly correct. With the first time that ball snaps on offense, people are going to go, man, I hope Luke Altmaier doesn't get killed. And they've got to have a better play from a offensive line that is going to be going up against a defensive line that arguably is more talented than the Indiana defensive line. So there's some question marks, but then again, Illinois' got players who were very good last year coming back, and so there's no reason why they can't do it unless they can't get their heads right.
Well, and we've talked about culture, right? And culture in terms of winning, expecting to win. And here's your first big challenge of this. They answered the bell in Durham with the big second half against Duke. That did not happen against Indiana. And so I've always told my kids, any kids that I coach in youth ball, let's learn from a loss, right? And so let's take from that. And you've got the staff and the personnel there to do that, a mature team. Brett Bielema talking on Thursday, his final time with the media before kickoff, and talking about, again, having some guys back healthy, and began talking about the surgery earlier this week on all Big Ten defensive back Xavier Scott, who he says will be on the sideline, he expects, on Saturday. Let's listen to part of that. Once again, that's Brett Bielema. And look, like you said, no matter how big the loss is, it's still a loss. And so now you move forward. Here's a USC team, and again, we'll hear from Cooper Perkins here in a bit, that is a better team. We already are seeing some publications and some of the websites begin to project USC as the fourth team out of the Big Ten to make the playoff right now. Indiana may say, hold on to that, but that just shows you how much the Trojans have really improved since last year.
Yeah, we've always known Lincoln Riley having the ability to put together an offense that's solid, and they've scored their average over 50 points a game. But now the defense is solid. I mean, at least it's much better, much improved, and that's always been the knock with Lincoln Riley's teams. Now they've got a defense that's at least, you would say, competitive. They did give up 31 points to Michigan State, but this was they're much better than they were a year ago, and I think that's going to be the key: is can that defense continue to play well for this team? And that's why the hype is much higher, because Lincoln Riley's teams always score points, and so now we see, and now. I guess that from an Illinois standpoint, you got a team that obviously can put up points. That's scary, but at the same time, historically the defense has not been a strength. So maybe Illinois can be their kryptonite and show up offensively and put some points on the board.
Yeah, give Luke Altmaier the time to get the ball out to the wide receivers. The defensive backs from USC are the weakest part of that defense. And they've got a very strong defensive line and one Superman linebacker. So they are beatable, but it's not going to be easy. But Brad, when I'm thinking of coaching, I think of Larry at halftime and his team comes in and Larry wants to do a really big speech. And Larry goes, you know what, guys, I'm going to loosen my tie. And you know what? You guys should too.
Always back to the tie. Always back to the tie. That's right. That's right. If I were a coach, I would be, the Tom Landry on the sidelines. I would be the
I
throwback.
have absolutely.
Would
no
you wear
doubt.
the hat? Would you wear the hat too?
No, never been a hat guy.
You should get like a better
Do-rag?
hat than that.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would
like
do
a
the scarf.
Really cool hat. Yeah.
I would do the scarf. I'd be styling. Let's just come on. I mean,
I would expect
You would be a
nothing
much
less.
better NBA coach than you would at NFL because you'd be a little too stylish for the NFL.
probably yeah. Because I'd get new shoes each week. My shoes be messed up. So
I'm more Belichick-ish with my cut off sweatshirt. To me, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and your 24-year-old girlfriend.
I wish. No.
Well,
He didn't say
cut's
that.
going out
Okay.
I
there,
didn't say
folks.
that. Whoops, sorry.
That clip's
Sorry.
going out worldwide.
Apologies, honey.
By the way, we should point out too, it is homecoming weekend, a little bit early, usually homecoming falling in October. And so Brett Bielema again talking about, the fans get out there. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's really early, but these things happen. And here's the thing I want to keep in mind. And we've all, collectively during the week, we all talk. And this is the thing too. Yeah, it's a tough loss. And yeah, all of a sudden this is a game that, boy, it's really important, but this is why you buy tickets. This is why you come to the games. Look, we've spent way too many years of 11 a.m. games on Big Ten Network. And I take nothing away from Big Ten Network. Don't get me wrong. But right now, you've got the big three, right? You've got Fox, the early, CBS afternoon, NBC at night, and you're seeing Illinois on those games. That only happens if you've got a good team. They're not going to put a 2-8 Illinois team at Penn State on NBC primetime. It's not going to happen. So understand where this program has come, where it is. And here's a team that you're not walking in, again, do I see a 30-point loss? No, I don't. I see a team that's going to be competitive and have a chance to win.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Is going out and compete and see what you can do. And you're exactly right, Larry. This program's come so far.
Oh, yeah.
We used to be, and we've said this forever. Like, if somebody could just win 6 games every year, we'll build them a statue. We've always said that, right? Until they win too many games, and then they got to win like 10, and then we'll tear down the statue. So it's you're never going to be happy. You always want to improve. So I think the hard part about this stuff, though, improvements are never linear. Like, you don't just automatically win 6 games, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10. You got to have ebbs and flows. But what I like about this program now is you feel like even after a bad loss, you still feel like this is a bowl team at the minimum. Worst case scenario, it's a bowl team. That's pretty good. I mean, for Illinois, the football, from where they were, that's pretty good.
Well, I had them at 9-3 this year with an upset defeat over Ohio State. That looks a little distant, but nonetheless, we've got the rest of it setting up just fine. But I really want to see this team do well this week. I know Brett Bielema's not interested in moral victories, but you got to be competitive on this game. And it is crucial because recruits are watching. And this is an opportunity that, again, you control your destiny. And this time Illinois' got to grab it, and they can't let it squirt out between their fingers. They got to get this and win it.
Yeah. Speaking of recruits, a lot of them on campus in the stadium this week on Saturday. Be sure to go to IlliniGuys.com as Brad and Ked and Zeno, our new writer, will have all kinds of reporting on that. So it's 11 a.m. kickoff. You're right. And Mike, here's the thing I'm going to say. I'm still holding on to the 9-3 because if you get this win and you win at Purdue next week and you got Ohio State coming in, you're a team now with 1 loss. And you've righted the ship, and, Ohio State should be a TV game. You've stayed in the rankings, all those things. Don't lose momentum. You lose momentum if you fall back to 4-8. that's when it's like, oh boy, here we go. Once
Yep.
again, we can't win back-to-back 8-win seasons, but I still think that they can do that. There's no question. Okay, we've got more football coming up again. Mike's conversation with Cooper Perkins, the USC insider. That's on the way in a few minutes. Matt Stevens also joining us from Illini Guys to talk about, we'll try to put not a bow, put a lid and shovel dirt over it from last week's game in Indiana. We'll also talk more about the Trojans. But up next, exactly twice. Flush that thing twice. We'll talk next Illini basketball. The men and women getting started this week. Sturdy was there. We'll hear from Coach Underwood. It's a big hour here on the Sports Spectacular on the Illini Guys Radio Network.